I didn't realize that when I started talking with Lyn about visiting her for the full moon ceremony, that would actually become sort of the anchor for my trip. At that point, I hadn't booked my ticket. I hadn't planned any like excursions. But she was the first person that I was able to identify and go, I know that when I go to the Philippines, I'm going to be visiting you. From that point on, all of my trip to the Philippines magically evolved into what it became and what it is that you've been watching. I am just so grateful that I got to meet Lyn and that she helped me feel connected to the motherland in a very rich and different way than I could have ever planned or expected. Mabuhay and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tez Milan. I am a Filipina American creative on a mission to do a deep dive into my lost Philippine heritage, to learn as much as I possibly can and to share that with you. I haven't said that in a while. Oh my gosh, it's a lot. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to share with you how I got to meet the amazing Lyn Buti, who is a cultural bearer, tradition preserver of her community, which is the TBoli tribe out of southern Mindanao. You plan for things and then things just magically crop up and turn out the way that they're supposed to. And then you meet the people that you're meant to meet, and Lyn is definitely one of those people for me. About a year ago, I was in New York City and I saw a concert, indigenous members of communities that are based out of Mindanao, serendipitously around the time that I was going to be there in New York. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm actually planning on going to the Philippines next year. This was last year that I was saying this to myself. I was like, oh, okay, well, I plan on going to the Philippines, but I don't really know where to start. Let me go to this concert and see if I can meet somebody who can just give me some ideas of what I could possibly go do and see. I went to this concert and I had no idea what to expect. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go see some cultural dances and all of this. The show is called POSAKA. It started off with Potri Rangka Manis, and she is the founder, artistic director, and choreographer of KINDING SINDAW. KINDING SINDAW exists to assert, preserve, reclaim, and recreate the traditions of dance, music, martial arts, storytelling, and orature of the indigenous peoples of Mindanao, southern Philippines.
There's an island that was not discovered or that was not conquered by the Spaniards. That's the island called Mindanao. Tonight, we're going to bring you Pusaka. Because Pusaka, if you will see all these things, is translated shortly by English language as early. Pusaka in Sanskrit translation means shining in the darkness of the rock. Today, we will immerse ourselves in a healing experience.
What we were about to see was the heirlooms of our traditions and our dances and our history that are still very much alive today, that we feel that we may have lost, but are actually still living vibrantly, which is very exciting, especially when you're a Filipino on a mission to rediscover a lot of that which you feel has been lost.
We brought from Mindanao tradition bearers who are actually young but was able to carry the lineage of their ancestors, and that's very precious. So much so, this is to inspire us to remember and reclaim that lineage. Otherwise, it will become a missing link of mankind.
Through ritual dance and chanted epics, indigenous master artists visiting from the Philippines share the living traditions of 4 unbroken lineages: Maguindanao, Meranao, Tausug, and T'boli, which is where Lyn is from. What I saw was, gosh, how do I describe it? It felt foreign. It felt pure. It felt strong and unapologetic. It was mysterious, and especially because Philippine culture is so diverse, and a lot of times most of the Philippine culture that we see and experience is the Filipiniana, it's the Barong Tagalog, which are beautiful pieces of our culture and history, but there's so much more. And I think that that is what is so important about this organization and about the show that I got to see, is that it is sharing a part of Philippine culture that is not widely, as of yet, shared and identified as being Filipino. And then of course I got to see Lyn, and she was performing and she was playing on all of these different instruments and she was singing. And then she started to do what looked like a ritual, and it was like solemn and sacred, and I was so curious to know what it was, because of course she's doing it in her native tongue and I don't understand what she's saying or what she's doing, but you can tell that it's something very special. At the end of the show, you know, we're all invited to dance and to physically become a part of that spirit of the Philippines. The most enthralling part for me was the talk back at the end of the show.
When I see the child dancing, I remember myself when I learned all of these rituals. I learned it through my parents and my grandparents. So what we did is the same as what our grandparents did to us when we grow in the Philippines, because we didn't know to present this if this fits to us. And that's the example of the other dimension of education, is to educate the younger one for these rituals that we have.
I do teaching young TBoli children for the dances. Instead of learning TikTok and Facebook, that's the time that they forget where they come from, their roots. Every Saturday and Sunday, instead of going to computer shop, they go to Bang learning dance and music. Who will do it if we are not started it today? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.
It gave people who are Filipino-American the chance to share what their experiences are on their journey of reclaiming their identity as Filipinos, and how they're doing that through an organization like KINDING SINDAW.
As a Filipino American, you have to realize that you've been colonized. Before re-indigenizing, my process has been, I have to decolonize, like really unlearn the things that have been placed upon my spirit and my body and my mind, right? And then with the help of KINDING SINDAW, of teaching the rituals are sacred. And this is life. Life is sacred. So I have to understand that my life is sacred, and I have to walk in that path. Lyn was talking about full moon ceremony and asking the spirit. So what in our lives we can connect to with spirit and with intentionality and purpose, and then how do you use that walking through your life?
It was in this talk back that I got to hear for the first time Lyn talk about what she called a full moon ceremony. And the moment I heard full moon ceremony, I was like, what? But it turns out that part of the show that she presented, this solemn ritual that we got to witness, was actually a part of what it is that she does during that full moon ceremony.
I do rituals in every full moon. I talk to the spirit in every full moon to ask that I am continue what I'm doing and bless us. All of our musical instrument has individual spirit. We call spirit, we pray in the mountains, in the trees, rivers. We do that every time that we want to pray. We are not going to church. So until now, I am continuing to call the spirit in every full moon, and this is very sacred ceremonies every month. We don't know how long we stay in this world, but we have to do something that can help and promote and protect, of course, our tribe and our homeland.
And so she talked about how she does this every month, and I was like, I don't really know how I'm gonna make this happen, because it sounds like she's so unreachable in terms of how to get to her. But I know that I need to be a part of this full moon ceremony. And I was like, wouldn't that be amazing if I could go do that while I'm in the Philippines during this trip that I'm planning to do? That started how I got to visit Lyn in southern Mindanao. During that show, I was actually supposed to interview her. When I got to the show, I could tell there was so much happening and so many people. I continued to stay in touch with her, and we organized a call where I could ask if it would be possible for me to join her. And she said yes. And little did I know when I would go visit Lyn that it wouldn't just be about the full moon ceremony. I mean, she pulled out the red carpet for me, and I cannot wait to share that experience with you. I am a Filipina. I'm a very spitty Filipina.